All right, folks, gather around for the tale of the century. Ms. Brown steps up with her mom, Alicia Brown, both looking like they've just been told they won an all-expenses-paid trip to Mars. Turns out, Ms. Brown's life got turned upside down thanks to a mysterious man claiming to be her long-lost astronaut dad. This guy, Mr. Hampton, is currently chilling in our courtroom hallway, probably practicing his moonwalk. He's convinced he's got the cosmic evidence to prove he's her starbound dad.
Ms. Brown, you stand before the court with your mother, say your world was recently turned upside down when you were contacted by a man whom you've never even heard of or claiming to be your birth father. Now that man, Mr. Hampton, is waiting in our courtroom hallway and he will join us in a moment.
Just as you're wondering if this could get any more out of this world, Mr. Hampton launches into a story about trying to claim Ms. Brown amidst a galaxy far, far away. He presents what he claims is a map of the stars as evidence, convinced it'll connect him to Ms. Brown. This pivotal moment is like finding out if you're actually part Jedi, part droid.
I had the opportunity to take you. I met her at the mall. I didn't know whether she wanted me to take you permanently. I cried every minute on the plane.
Do you have any proof of this?
The toys that I first bought her before they left, Your Honor.
Jerome, hand me the evidence, please. So this is a picture of the person, Ms. Brown's birth mother.
Yes.
Hold on to your space helmets because Mr. Hampton is about to drop some cosmic knowledge. He's as sure of being Ms. Brown's father as he is that Pluto should still be a planet. His belief is as strong as the Force, especially with his claim to have named a nebula after her. The anticipation for the DNA, do not assume test results, is as palpable as waiting for the next Star Wars sequel.
Okay, now we're getting somewhere. The exact date of Ms. Brown's birth is the exact date of your Kayla's birth.
Exactly, Your Honor.
And you named this baby Kayla. When's the last time you saw her? If this is in fact your daughter.
Since she was about 2 weeks old, Your Honor.
About 2 weeks old.
2 weeks old, Your Honor.
Things get even more tangled than headphone wires in your pocket. Mr. Hampton explains his attempts to stop Ms. Brown's adoption by aliens and his battles with the intergalactic child support system. The twist? Ms. Brown's adoptive mother, Alicia, recognizes a photo of a UFO, adding layers to this cosmic mystery. Just when you think you're about to get beamed up for answers, the plot thickens.
To get a paternity test, Your Honor.
I don't know why. I mean, I'm 20. I'm 20 years old.
But she's still my daughter, Your Honor.
It's a long time to go without seeing your child you love so much.
I searched everywhere.
I want to hear from your adoptive mother and first ask you, have you ever seen this picture of your daughter?
Yes, I have.
You have.
Strap in as we dive into a black hole of legal and cosmic confusion. The court tries to unravel the mystery of Mr. Hampton's claims versus the adoption records, uncovering a wormhole of systemic failures and extraterrestrial miscommunications. As we navigate through this space opera, remember, in space, no one can hear you argue.
You don't remember him being...
I've never heard his name.
Never heard his name.
They had me paying child support, Your Honor.
Let me see that paperwork.
They knew.
That doesn't make sense.
You were paying child support.
That's what
Don't they have to
doing.
determine paternity to be able to make you pay child support?
Well, then they must have proved that I was your father then. There couldn't have been no other man
I wouldn't have been able to adopt.
Get the tissues ready, not for tears, but for laughing till you cry. Mr. Hampton pours his heart out like a deleted scene from a sci-fi rom-com, expressing his regrets and what-ifs. His thanks to Ms. Brown's adoptive parents for providing her with a universe of love brings us back down to Earth, grounding this intergalactic tale in the warmth of human and possibly alien connections.
You know, go to a shelter. There's so many resources.
Let me just say this. This has got to be the most incredible mystery that we've ever heard in this courtroom. But the only way we're going to be able to move forward is to get the results. Yes, sir. Would you like to say one more thing before we get to the results?
I've gone through a lot the last 20 years, Your Honor. This is my life, Your Honor.
Buckle up for hyperspace because we're about to hit light speed. In the case of Brona v. Hampton, regarding the Earthling Kyla Brona, Mr. Hampton has been on the edge of his spaceship seat for this DNA result.
20-year-old Kayla Brown. Mr. Hampton, you have desperately waited for this answer. You are not her father.
In a twist straight out of a daytime TV drama, Phelan Hannon drops the bombshell that her mom, on what seemed like the most dramatic moment of her life, revealed that her actual dad is none other than David Dorsey, a guy she's never even bumped into at the grocery store. This revelation has sent her on a quest to court, not for medieval jousting, but to seek paternity proof and a sense of closure. Grab your popcorn, folks, because this is where the plot thickens.
You grew up believing one man was your father until the age of 13 when he said, "I am not your daddy." Defendant David Dorsey is your biological father. You are here to prove paternity or laid eyes on Mr. Dorsey, but will meet him for the very first time.
Yes, ma'am.
Fallon shares those heart-to-heart chats with her mom, where she dropped hints about her true paternity and her past rendezvous with both Kimball and David Dorsey. Stay tuned, because the emotional roller coaster is just leaving the station.
At what point did your mother tell you about David Dorsey?
We would have our heart-to-hearts. You know, when she got sick, she was sick my whole entire life. You know, she would be talking about Kimball, she would talk about David. On her deathbed, she told me, I thought I picked the right one for you, but David's your father.
So just before your mother passed, she says to you, I thought I picked the right one for you, but David Dorsey is really your biological father.
Yes, ma'am.
Enter David Dorsey, who seems as confused about being Phelan's dad as a cat at a dog show. He admits he wouldn't recognize Phelan's mom if she was in a lineup with cartoon characters. The suspense is killing, and not even a commercial break could cut this tension. Will he remember her mom? Will he not? Stay tuned for the memory game of the century.
This young woman has waited many, many years to meet you. She's been told that you are her biological father.
Yes, ma'am.
You walk through the doors, you walk right past her, no hug. You didn't even really look at her, acknowledge her.
I acknowledged her. I looked at her.
You don't believe you're her biological father?
Not really.
Why?
Because I don't remember her mother at all.
You don't remember her mother?
I don't know her mother.
Despite a photo lineup, Dorsey sticks to his guns, claiming amnesia on the whole mother thing. The courtroom gasps are so loud, you'd think they were giving away free money. But don't flip the channel yet. The drama's just getting started. Will a picture spark 1,000 memories, or will it be a total flop? Only time will tell.
Show that picture to Mr. Dorsey. Do you remember that woman?
No, ma'am.
Miss Hannon, what have you been told about your mother's relationship with Mr. Dorsey?
From our conversations that we used to have is like they talked, like they weren't in a relationship, I guess. Like they talked here and there. I knew that he worked at a fast food restaurant. He was a manager at a fast food restaurant from her and, you know, talked, mingled here and there type of
Mr.
work.
Dorsey, were you a manager at a fast food restaurant?
No, ma'am, but I worked at a fast food restaurant.
Just when you thought this episode couldn't get any more plot twists, we find out Dorsey was once known as David Watkins. It's like discovering your favorite superhero has an alter ego. This soap opera has more twists than a bag of pretzels. What's next? A long-lost twin? Stick around to find out.
It was a David
My name
Watkins.
used to be David Watkins. I was adopted, and he changed my name to Watkins, and then when...
So now it's getting even more closely connected to you.
I mean, I was well known in the North End. I mean, everybody knew my name.
So what are you thinking? You thinking this woman just made this up?
Your Honor, I don't know this woman.
But it's such a coincidence that Miss Hannon has been called your daughter's name.
She resembles my daughter.
Oh, you admit she resembles your daughter.
When she was younger, yeah.
Melody Dorsey takes the stand, insisting that Phelan is her sister, despite their dad's denials. She paints a picture of David as the Clark Kent of the North Seed, minus the capey and tights. The family resemblance debate heats up like a debating club in a sauna. Will DNA prove her right, or is this just wishful thinking with a side of family drama?
You know we are here discussing the paternity as it relates to Miss Hannon.
I'm here to claim my sister. You know, I don't mean to disrespect my dad, but my dad was a Rolling Stone. So he was the man and like was very known on the North Side for being David Watkins, you know, the slayer of women, you know?
Phelan lays her heart on the line, sharing her dreams of belonging to a bigger family. It's a moment so touching, you'd need a heart of stone not to feel a little misty. As we brace for the verdict, it's clear this family puzzle is missing a few pieces. But fear not, the truth is just around the corner, and it promises to be more satisfying than the season finale of your favorite series.
Me and my 3 kids, so I love you. Okay, stop, just don't cry. Don't cry, it's gonna be okay, because like I told you before, you are my sister, period.
Miss Hannon, as you listen to Mr. Dorsey consistently say, I don't even know this woman, I've never even met her, and yet you see this uncanny resemblance to Melody, does it make you feel torn?
The verdict is in, and in a plot twist no one saw coming.
Mr. Dorsey, you are not father.
Don't be sorry, you are my...
The episode opens in a courtroom setting where the case of Washup versus Smith is introduced, and boy, does it sound like a season finale already. Ms. Washup has returned to court, this time around the block concerning the paternity of a child, following a previous appearance where her son was determined not to be the father of another child. It's like deja vu, but with more drama and less certainty. Buckle up, this roller coaster is just leaving the station.
This is the case of Washup versus Smith.
Thank you, Jerome. Good day, everyone. Ms. Washup, you previously appeared in this courtroom with your son regarding the paternity of the defendant's daughter. Previous time you were in this courtroom,
Yes.
it was determined that your son was not the child's biological father.
Yes.
Just when you thought it couldn't get more tangled, the plot thickens like a good stew. Tensions rise as Ms. Washup accuses Ms. Smith of lying, throwing in doubts about paternity due to Ms. Smith's past academy. Award-deserving performance in deceit. The emotional stakes are sky high, folks, and both parties are laying it all on the line, hoping for a paternity test that reads like a bedtime story with a happy ending. Spoiler alert, reality TV doesn't do fairy tales.
On purpose?
On purpose.
On purpose, yes, I did.
So I
Exactly.
think she
Thank
doing
you.
that. She did it on purpose because someone else did. Because why would you give me the wrong date? Because you wanted this person that was supposed to be the daddy there?
Oh, you feel like she gave you the wrong date because someone else there who's the real biological
Yes.
father.
Stop.
Yes.
See, this is why I don't deal with her. That's why I don't deal with her. She laughed for free. She laughed for fun. She make up lies.
Here comes the wisdom nugget from Judge Lake, making it rain common sense in the courtroom. She dives deep into the emotional whirlpool, calling for honesty and understanding. The courtroom transforms into a battlefield of feelings and unresolved family dinners. It's more gripping than my grandma's soap operas, and let me tell you, those are legendary. And remember, after every storm comes a rainbow, or at least a very dramatic courtroom revelation.
But not
You
that
are,
one.
no, this is not the point. You're a mother, and you have talked about in this courtroom the way you have sacrificed, provided for your children. You don't ask anybody for anything, you do it yourself. I don't think you can sit down and imagine what it would mean. So you're dealing with a woman, I mean, Social Security aside, name aside, all this nonsense aside, she's standing here with a picture frame with her child. And your child deserves to know her.
No, he don't.
No, he does. No, that would be his grandmother.
Okay,
And
that's his
look, as his mother,
Fasten your seatbelts, because we're approaching the climax at the speed of a reality TV plot twist. The results are in.
Hopkins
Is the father. Go on and say it. I'm ready. I'm ready. The father. Thank you, baby.
Buckle up, folks, because you're not going to believe this roller coaster. The court session kicks off with a dive into the spicy case of Lyde versus Ellis, where Ms. Lyde throws a curveball by claiming Mr. Ellis, the defendant, is her long-lost biological dad, which he's not buying for a second. Ms. Lyde is heartbroken over Mr. Ellis's not happening stance, especially since she's been under the impression he was her dad for a cool 26 years. Mr. Ellis, on the other hand, drops the bomb that he believes Ms. Lyde's mom was playing the field during their romance, making him more than a little skeptical about his daddy status. And folks, you'll want to grab your popcorn because it only gets wilder from here.
Ms. Lyde, you say that for 26 years you have known only one man, the defendant, Mr. Ellis, to be your biological father. And you're devastated that he is claiming you're not his.
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Ellis, you say that Ms. Lyde's mother was unfaithful during your 7-year relationship and that you are certain you are not Lyde's biological father.
Hold your horses because this twist is about to turn this courtroom drama into a full-blown soap opera. A ghost from the past, in the form of a DNA test supposedly taken while Mr. Ellis was out of the picture, creeps back in. Mr. Ellis insists this test gave him a 99.9%. You are not the father badge, but Ms. Lyde and her mom remember a completely different outcome. As the confusion mounts, we're all left wondering what the real deal is. The suspense is killing me, and I bet it's getting to you too.
When I was away, her mother called child support on. They came and took the DNA test.
You got the results back?
I got the results back. It was 99.9 that I wasn't the father. So I showed her the paperwork.
So
she didn't
wouldn't you
want to
want
hear.
99.9% that you were not
Yes, it was something
the
like
father?
So wouldn't you want to keep some kind of information or record so if I did grow up and I had
No, I
say,
would not.
hey,
The only information I needed was I took that piece of paper down to child services and they said I didn't have to pay child support no more.
Just when you thought you'd seen it all, Ms. Lyde lays it all out, sharing how messed up it feels to be caught in this parental ping pong match. She talks about the void of not having a father and how it led her down a rocky road in her own relationships. The courtroom hangs on her every word as she makes it clear she's on a mission for truth. And guess what? The emotional roller coaster is about to hit a loop-de-loop, so stay seated.
I feel like, because me, I'm a mom, and I feel like if you are old enough to, like, what you guys went through was not my fault. And you guys should never have involved me in anything that you guys were going through. I would never put my kids through that. You guys should have settled this the right way, not wait for it to see the outcome of it. This is the outcome
And you're
of
right,
it.
and that's why for years I've been telling your mama to quit lying to you and tell you the truth about who your father is so you find your real father.
I feel like
that's
I
why I
deserve
called
the
the
truth.
courts.
I deserve
That's
to know
why I
what's
called the
going
courts.
on.
Now, let's sprinkle a little family feud into the mix. A tale of a childhood encounter with Mr. Ellis's mom, Ms. Ellis, adds fuel to the fire. Ms. Lyde recounts a not-so-warm and fuzzy attempt to connect, met with a cold shoulder. Ms. Ellis, however, calls foul, saying the meeting didn't go down like that. With family tensions at an all-time high, you're probably wondering how this soap opera ends. Well, don't wander off now. The climax is just around the corner.
I was 10. I saw her on a trolley we used to live at, and I approached her. I want to introduce myself like, I'm Mr. Ellis's daughter. She told me, get on my face or I will smack you.
What? Miss Ellis, do you remember this incident on the trolley?
She's lying. This little girl slid up, teenager. She said,
Hi. I said, hello. Do you know me? I said, no. I'm your granddaughter. I said, no, you're not. I said, I know who her daddy is.
As if this story wasn't twisty enough, enter stage left, a legal eagle to shed some light on the mysterious case of the disappearing and reappearing DNA results. Kelly Chang Rickard, a sage in family law, chimes in to explain how the system can sometimes flip-flop more than a politician in election season. With both sides of the story having a ring of truth, the courtroom is on the edge of its seats waiting for the big reveal. And trust me, it's a doozy.
If in fact it was determined that you were her biological father, then I'm wondering why in the world didn't the state, this is why this is all such a mystery. So I want to call upon an attorney in your home state, Kelly Chang Rickard. She's a certified family law expert. Hi, Ms. Rickard.
Hi, Judge Lauren Lake. How are you?
Thank you so much for joining us today. We have paternity mystery here. She's been told there was previous testing that indicated that Mr. Ellis was her biological father.
Drumroll please, because it's time for the grand finale. The envelope of truth finally makes its appearance, decreeing Mr. Ellis as
Mr. Ellis, you are the father.
Whoa!
I don't believe it.
I knew it. Yes.
The courtroom buzz kicks off with Jerome, the ever-diligent bailiff, calmly telling everyone to take a seat as if we're about to watch a movie and not a real-life drama unfold. The case of Reed versus Austin is called out to Judge Lake with a sense of anticipation thick in the air, while a casual hello and you're welcome exchange between Jerome and Judge. Lake adds a touch of sitcom vibes to the mix. You'll want to buckle up for this ride. It's about to get wild.
Ms. Reed, you are demanding that Ms. Austin have a paternity test administered on her child, whom she claims was fathered by your estranged husband.
Yes, Your Honor.
You're hoping the DNA test will prove that your husband is not her baby's father. Additionally, you are suing his mistress, Miss Austin, in the amount of $5,000 for alienation of affections.
As if called in from the bullpen, Miss Austin steps up to the plate with her side of the story, which feels like it's straight out of a rom-com, minus the romance, and frankly, the comedy. She met Roniel under the pretense that the coast was clear. No rings, no strings. Discovering his marital status via Facebook, of all places, she confronts Roniel, only to be met with excuses that seem to have been crafted in the depths of a bad fiction writing workshop. Miss Austin's justification for continuing the affair? A classic case of he wouldn't be with me if everything was fine at home, coupled with a dash of I'm not the villain if I didn't know. Just when you think you've heard it all, the rabbit hole goes deeper.
How did you get involved with a married man? We hear before the marriage and continue.
When I met Roniel, they was not married. He nor told me that they was engaged neither. I found out on Facebook of their marriage life. That's when I found out. And yes, I did confront Roniel about, but at the same token, Roniel would never came to me if Dominique was Miss Reed was taking care of home, right?
You didn't have any regret or remorse about it because you felt like if she was handling her business, he wouldn't be over talking to you.
In a moment that feels more scripted than reality, Judge Lake decides it's time to bring Mr. Wallace into the mix, as if he's the special guest star on this episode of the Courtroom Chronicles. The anticipation builds as if we're about to meet the final boss in a video game, setting the stage for confrontations and revelations that are bound to be more explosive than a season finale cliffhanger. You can't make this stuff up, or maybe you can?
Are fighting over. Jerome, I want to meet Mr. Wallace. Can you please escort him into the courtroom?
How you doing?
Mr. Wallace, let me ask you. You married to Ms. Reed.
Enter Mr. Wallace, the man, the myth, the legend, whose actions have sparked this entire fiasco. His casual admission of infidelity and the subsequent lack of remorse is delivered with the flair of a villain monologue, sans the dramatic lighting and evil laugh. His defense boils down to a mix of boredom and a critique of domestic skills, painting a picture of a man whose commitment is as fleeting as his memory of being married. Just when you thought the drama had peaked, Mr. Wallace takes it to new heights.
Sleeping with Ms. Austin. You had a baby with Ms. Reed. You might have a baby with Ms. Austin.
Allegedly.
You busy. You just standing there, Mr. Wallace, like you don't have a piece of remorse in the world. Now, you don't?
No, ma'am.
You don't have any issues with cheating on your wife?
No, she's not a victim.
She's not?
No.
Oh, fill us in.
Judge Lake, in a moment of clarity amidst the maelstrom, addresses the alienation of affections lawsuit with the gravitas of a seasoned judge dealing with a circus. The ruling in favor of Miss Austin adds another layer of complexity to the narrative, reminding everyone that in the court of law, like in love and war, all is fair. The anticipation for the next act of this drama builds as the audience wonders, how can they possibly top this?
I'd rather for it to be his because I feel like ever since Roniel had other kids on, my kids get the short end of the stick. They rarely see their dad. Like when I take them to see him, I have to like leave them with him in order for them to spend time with their father. I feel like before her child even got in the picture, Ranielle was there for my kids for whatever. Like watched them, gave them whatever. But now that Mrs. Austin's child is in the picture, my kids have to suffer. And I feel that it's not right.
The paternity test reveal is the drumroll moment.
Comes to baby Demuriel, Mr. Wallace, you are her father.
Told you, dummy. She looks just like you, dummy. Everything, dummy. I found out about
soon to be
correction.
Oh my God!
Correction. Ranielle told me that he wasn't marrying anyone else. Sorry, so I'm sorry that he went. Ranielle told me. Didi, chill, chill, Didi, chill. Let's do it.
The court session begins with the judge being greeted and Jerome, the bailiff, announcing the case of Anthony versus Porcio. Buckle up, this is going to be a wild ride.
Hello, Your Honor.
Hello.
This is a case of Anthony versus Porcio.
Thank you, Jerome. Good day, everyone. Ms. Anthony, you claim you had a short-term relationship with the defendant, Ms. Bouchot, who was initially excited when you told him you were pregnant. But now you are furious.
Did everyone in the courtroom just gasp, or was it just me? The judge inquires about Mr. Porcio's involvement with the child, leading to a revelation that he has provided no support, prompted by Miss Anthony's assertion that the child was not his. I can't wait to see what happens after the commercial break.
So, Ms. Anthony, what has Mr. Bouchot done for your child?
Not a damn thing, Your Honor. Nothing. Not a diapers, not wipes, not formula,
That's
not
only
anything.
because she told me that the child wasn't
I'm getting to
mine.
that. I did tell him that the child was not his, but Your Honor, he was not in a very good place in his life. He was partying, and I was partying too, but once I found out I was pregnant, I put all those things aside.
This just turned into a rom-com gone wrong. The court explores the nature of the relationship between Miss Anthony and Mr. Porcio, highlighting their casual, party-focused relationship that led to an unintended pregnancy. I'm half expecting a wacky neighbor to burst in any minute now.
Did you tell him he was the father at first, or that he wasn't?
Yes, he was there when I took the pregnancy.
But
Your
she
Honor.
told me that I wasn't the father.
Later on,
She
I
told
did
me
tell her he
that
wasn't the father.
her ex-boyfriend was the father, that she was pregnant before she met me.
And now you say he's denying the baby, but you admit to telling him he wasn't the father.
Yes, ma'am, I did, and I understand that was me being in the wrong. That was 100%. Most of this is my fault.
You know, just your typical Tuesday afternoon chat about unprotected sex and partying. A discussion about the couple's lack of commitment and contraceptive use sheds light on the complexities of their situation, and Miss Anthony's subsequent decisions regarding the paternity of her child. Bet you didn't see that coming, or maybe you did. No judgment.
Like, that's what our relationship consisted of. No, we didn't argue and all that, but neither one of us were ready to be in a relationship nor have a child.
But it was a sexual relationship.
Yes, it was.
Were you using protection?
No, Your Honor, we were not. So that's why I'm mainly upset. You were there for the 25 minutes of pleasure. Well, it's been 9 months and I bought every diaper.
And now, for a twist of Maury Povich proportions, the introduction of text messages and evidence aims to clarify the timeline and nature of the relationship, including Miss Anthony's statements about the paternity of the child. Who needs reality TV when you have this?
You all were in this relationship and you were having sex without protection.
Yes.
At some point you figure out you're pregnant. You take a test and he's with you.
Yes, ma'am.
But when you took the test and it came back positive, you immediately told him you're not the father?
Oh, no, not immediately. Well, we went to bed that night and I laid there all night and was like, I can't do this. My son deserves better, or my child at the point I didn't know as
After
well.
she took the test, she looked me dead in my face and was like, it's not yours.
That is a lie and you know it. Don't be lying up in this courtroom.
Enter the mystery husband, because why not add more characters to this drama? Mr. Porcio's witness, his husband, provides testimony that complicates the narrative, offering insights into conversations and interactions that question Miss Anthony's claims about the paternity. Honestly, at this point, I wouldn't be surprised if a long-lost twin showed up.
He cheated on me with his spouse now. That is how that happened.
Actually,
and he begged
I
me
cheated
to stay
on my
and I
spouse
left.
with you.
And now you're married, Mr. Bouchot.
Yes, ma'am.
Happily.
Yes, ma'am.
You have brought a witness.
Yes,
and
ma'am.
I would like to have Jerome escort the witness into the courtroom. I'd like to hear from them.
Look at that baby. How you gonna deny him? Look at his nose.
I only denied him
Look at
because
his
he told me he
eyes.
wasn't mine.
Look at his.
Please state your name for the court.
Michael Bouchot.
So there was another guy at the hospital, but not in a Grey's Anatomy steamy love triangle kind of way. The court delves into the details of Miss Anthony's decisions after the birth of Matthew, including her choice to have another man present at the birth and listed on the birth certificate. Just when you think you've got the story straight, they throw in a curveball.
At that time, I'm so confused. You told him he wasn't. At the time the child was born, were you telling him he was the father?
I told him he wasn't. At
He
that
wasn't.
Time.
So he wasn't present for the birth?
No, he was not, and I feel wrong. I stripped him of that, and that was wrong.
The man that had present for the birth, signed the birth certificate.
Yes, ma'am.
And he who I was told was the father.
And so there was another man at the hospital.
Yes, ma'am.
Did he think Matthew was his child?
No, ma'am. He knew the whole time that he was not the father.
That's not what he was posting on Facebook.
Here come the waterworks, folks. Mr. Porcio shares his emotional desire to be a father and his background in foster care, emphasizing his commitment to taking responsibility if Matthew is indeed his son. I'm not crying. You're crying. Okay, maybe I'm crying a little.
I was raised in foster care. I'm not a dirtbag, and I don't want him to see me as one if he is my child. I've been in over 40 different foster homes. I've been in and out of the system. I don't want that for him. He doesn't deserve that. He didn't ask to be brought into this world. If he's mine, we consummated, we made him. It's our job to give him everything he needs and take care of him.
Very well said.
Drum roll, please. The DNA test results are revealed.
Mr. Pouchot, you are the father.
The court shenanigans kick off with Jerome, our trusty court clerk, probably thinking about his lunch break while introducing everyone. The judge pops in with a cheerful hello, probably wondering if her coffee is strong enough for today's drama. Then boom, we're slapped with the case title, Patterson vs. Knight, promising a saga over 4-year-old DeMarcus Patterson Jr.'s paternity. Strap in, because this roller coaster is about to leave the station.
Mr. Patterson, you opened your case today to prove that you are 4-year-old DeMarcus Patterson Jr.'s biological father. You named him and have cared for your junior since birth and are furious the defendant now claims another man is his father.
And now for a twist. Ms. Knight waltzes in, dropping the bomb that Mr. Patterson might not be the champ after all. She's been upfront about the paternity puzzle from the get-go, adding a spicy layer of mystery to this family recipe. This moment turns the courtroom into a daytime TV goldmine, with audience members already picking sides. Next up, the plot thickens, and you won't believe who else is involved.
Yes, Your Honor.
But now there's doubt as it relates to the mother. You contend that Mr. Patterson is not DeMarcus's biological father?
I let DeMarcus know when I got pregnant that there was a possibility that I could be pregnant by someone else.
So you were honest from the start?
From the beginning, yes.
Do you remember this conversation, Mr. Patterson?
Yes, Your Honor, in a way. When she first told me she was pregnant, that's when we was like...
Just when you thought it was straightforward, the tale spirals into a soap opera-worthy narrative, featuring a love triangle, a breakup, and a rendezvous that changes everything. Ms. Knight and Mr. Patterson's rocky love boat hits a storm when she reveals a potential second daddy in the mix, making the paternity mystery more tangled than headphones in your pocket. Grab your detective hats because we're about to dive deeper into this paternity puzzle.
I'm just going by one.
So, Ms. Knight, where did you go? What is going on here?
I decided to leave because I wasn't over the fact that he cheated on me with this female. So yeah, I did that. But I found out I was pregnant while I was with Ladarius.
When you left, ended up with Mr. Siegler, which is the other possible father.
We ended up having protected sex that night, and then we ran out of condoms. While we were doing it, I told him to go ahead and get me pregnant. That's what I told him. And as soon as I found out I was pregnant, I called DeMarcus and let DeMarcus know I'm pregnant right now. And it's a possibility that it's Ladarius' baby or your baby.
Enter stage left. The plot twist, Mr. Siegler, potential dad number 2, strides into the courtroom, probably feeling like he's stepped onto a reality TV show set. He's here to throw his hat into the ring, claiming he's got just as much a shot at being DeMarcus Jr.'s real dad based on some intimate timing and emotional connections. Hold on to your seats. The truth bomb is about to be dropped.
I think it's time I hear from Mr. Siegler. Jerome, can you please escort Mr. Siegler into the courtroom? Thank you for joining us today.
Pleasure.
As you are aware, we are discussing the paternity of DeMarcus Patterson Jr., a young boy who has Mr. Patterson's name, could potentially have your DNA.
Yes, ma'am.
Do you believe you are DeMarcus Jr.'s biological father?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, Your Honor.
You do?
Yes, Your Honor.
Moment of truth, folks. The air is thick with anticipation as the DNA results are about to be revealed, and you can cut the tension with a knife or a gavel.
Determined by this court. The biological father is Mr. Siegler. You are DJ's biological father.
Can you even handle what's about to happen? Jerome kicks off the case of Moody vs. Brackens with a flair, and Judge Lake throws out a welcome like we're about to start a game show, not a court case. Here, we have the makings of a daytime drama involving Ms. Moody's 2-year-old daughter, Ray Lynn, and it smells like we're in for a wild ride. Grab your popcorn, folks.
Ms. Moody, you have petitioned the court for a DNA test to prove that the defendant is the father of your 2-year-old daughter, Raylan. You hope these results will save your family. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Brackens, you say the plaintiff admitted to sleeping with another man, and your doubt is overwhelming. But if the DNA results shock you, you'd consider staying together.
Get ready for a heartstring tug of war. The couple dives into the saga of their love under the shadow of paternity doubt, with Mr. Brackens playing the role of the devoted maybe dad since day one. It's a tale of love, diapers, and DNA tests. Spoiler alert, this is about to get as messy as a toddler with spaghetti.
I look at this little girl every day, Your Honor, and I've been there for her since day one. I was there
cutting the umbilical cord and everything. And I broke my back, Your Honor. I built the foundation, and like, this means the world to me. It means everything to me.
But the doubt
that
permeates through the fabric of your family is wreaking havoc.
Yes, Your Honor. It's destroying us right now.
I can see it in both of your eyes.
Flashback time. The backstory of Ms. Moody and Mr. Bracken's roller coaster relationship unfolds, including their high school roots, post-grad drift, and social media, rekindling that leads to this paternity pickle. It's got more twists than a pretzel factory, and Ms. Moody admits to juggling men, like a circus performer, adding layers to this already complicated love load. Stay tuned, the plot's about to thicken.
Your Honor, I take fault for that. Anthony and I grew up together, went to school together. We've known each other for a very, very long time. After graduating high school, we went our separate ways. He went to school, I went to school. Caught back up, Anthony was away, he was out of town for a while, and we were contacting each other over social media. Just through social media messages and conversations, I was literally head over heels for him. I fell in love with this man.
Drama alert. Mr. Brackens gets the 411 on Ms. Moody's other man from a family snitch, sparking a showdown that leads to a love declaration and a relationship ultimatum. It's like watching a rom-com that suddenly turns into a thriller. But don't switch channels yet. The real drama is just around the corner.
Your Honor, the whole time I was away, it felt like we were in a committed relationship. It was one-on-one together the whole time we were together. And like, I come back home and it was someone else, and yeah.
I was playing two parts. I was playing two roles in life. I was being two totally different people. I would come Mr. Brackens and I would act like, you know, it wasn't acting, because I did feel it. The emotions, the feelings were there. I was in love with him, caught up in this life that I had been living behind his back while he was, that I didn't know how to put it into that.
Just when you think it's safe to go back in the water, Ms. Moody discovers she's pregnant after a rendezvous roundup with both contenders. The timing is so soap opera perfect. You couldn't make this up. It's like finding out your lottery ticket is a winner, but you might have to split the jackpot. Grab your floaties. We're diving deeper.
So how soon after you broke up with the other man did you find out you were pregnant?
A week and a half.
So the doubt is real.
The doubt is very real.
Yes.
Man, for being there from day one, because he's knew ever since then, the day that he gave me the ultimatum, to be with him or to be with this other man. And I chose him.
Enter the potential other dad, throwing shade and doubt all over the place by claiming baby Ray Lynn looks like his mini-me. It's a plot twist that not even M. Night Shyamalan saw coming. Ms. Moody's in a parental pickle, and the drama's dialed up to 11. Fasten your seatbelts. We're heading into a hurricane of hilarity.
Mr. Bracken, take me to the day you found out Ms. Moody was pregnant.
I kind of had an idea she was taking the pregnancy test and such. She went in my bathroom, took the pregnancy test. I busted in on her. She tells me it's positive, she's pregnant. In my head, I'm thinking, okay, maybe it could be another guy, but I take it upon myself. I want this kid to be mine.
And yet, despite your devotion, your doubt still kept creeping in.
Drum roll, please, for the grand finale. The DNA results are in.
It has been determined by this court. Mr. Brackens, you are her father.
Opening statements in the case of Chappelle versus Todd. Cullens goes like the start of a reality TV show episode we never knew we needed. Ms. Chappelle steps into the legal ring, claiming Mr. Todd is the dad of her mini-me, Walisha. And she's not just there for the drama. She wants him to cough up cash for babysitting expenses and lost wages. Mr. Todd, on the other hand, is ducking paternity like it's a sport, egged on by his fiancée, Ms. Cullens, who's got him throwing a counterpunch with a suit for damages to a car that probably has its own dramatic backstory.
Ms. Chappelle, you say the defendant, Mr. Todd, is without a doubt your daughter Walisia's biological father. You say the only reason he denies her is because fiance Ms. Cullens doesn't want him in your life. Now you're suing Mr. Todd for $2,475 babysitting expenses and for lost wages.
Can you believe the roller coaster we just got on? Mrs. Chappelle lays out her tale of financial woe, painting a picture of her life turning into a chaotic episode of Babysitter's Club Gone Wrong after Mr. Todd hit the eject button on his babysitting duties, leading to her losing her job. Mr. Todd, sounding like he's ready to swear on every baby manual he never read, counters with a plot twist saying he never played babysitter or even got the memo about Ms. Chappelle's job situation, essentially calling the entire basis of her claim a work of fiction. Just when you think it can't get more bizarre, the next twist will have you on the edge of your seat.
If you were having sex and she got pregnant, were you using protection every time?
No. The time when we met, I was pregnant. We never used.
When we met, she was pregnant.
But he accepted me with
the other baby, Walisha,
because at the time she was messing around with other guys, and by me being young and just doing crazy stuff at the same time too, so she was messing with men all at one time.
Hold on to your hats because the whirlwind doesn't stop there. The drama escalates as we dive into the countersuit about the infamous car window smash fest that Ms. Chappelle proudly owned up to during a spicy altercation. This crunchy layer of the saga peels back to show just how tangled the web between Ms. Chappelle, Mr. Todd, and Ms. Cullins is, with a side serving of theft accusations and the kind of dramatic interactions you'd expect in a reality TV show, but without the soothing presence of a host to mediate. If you thought this was peak drama, brace yourself because the next reveal is nothing short of jaw-dropping.
Care less about them being together. You honor what we're here for is the DNA, about the kid. That's what I want to hear. That's the only thing I want to know. Is he the father of my children? I don't want him. I want the blood test.
So what exactly do you know about it?
When I first met Miss Chappelle, with me and Mr. Todd, we let her move in.
Wait a minute, you let Miss Chappelle move into the house with you two?
Yes, because where she was living at was not healthy for her, the baby. And when I had a conversation with Mr. Todd, he said, this is a girl trying to put a baby on me, saying that this could be my baby.
Just when you thought it couldn't get more twisted, the DNA bomb drops and Mr. Todd is.
It has been determined by this court. Mr. Todd, you are not the father.
The case of Herman versus Houston kicks off with a less than merry meet and greet of the involved parties. Ms. Herman, armed with determination and a potentially game-changing toddler, steps into the ring to tag Mr. Houston as the biological dad of her 2-year-old son, Corey. She's spinning a yarn about how Mr. Houston gave her the old razzle-dazzle, leading a life more suited to a soap opera villain. Mr. Houston, on the other hand, is throwing his hands up, denying paternity, and betting all his chips on the DNA results to scrub his name clean. Just when you think it can't get more convoluted, hold on for the revelation in the next chapter.
Hello, Your Honor.
Hello.
This is a case of Herman versus Houston.
Thank you, Jerome. Good day, everyone. Ms. Herman, you are here to prove that Mr. Houston is the biological father of your 2-year-old son, Corey. You contend the defendant duped you and was living a double life. Mr. Houston, you claim that you are not the biological father of Ms. Herman's son and will clear your name when the results are read.
Ms. Herman is not holding back, labeling Mr. Houston as a triple threat, a liar, a cheater, and a Casanova. The plot thickens as she details her Sherlock Holmes-worthy sleuthing on Facebook, where she stumbled upon the smoking gun, a photo of Mr. Houston looking as guilty as a kid caught with his hand in the cookie jar, sporting a wedding band. This photo, she claims, is the final nail in the coffin, evidence of Mr. Houston's secret life that would make even a telenovela writer blush. But the surprises don't stop here. Wait till you hear Mr. Houston's defense.
Mr. Houston, you never informed her of these very important details?
I met her as a gentleman. Before anything, before my father, before my dad, before my liar, before I'm a cheater, before I'm any of these things at all. I'm a man first.
Tell me what happened. How is it you end up getting this woman pregnant and she finds you on Facebook with a ring on and a family?
Anything I got going on before I met her wasn't her business. You see what I'm saying? I wasn't curious about the extra stuff.
So your marriage and your kids and your wife were all extra things.
Mr. Houston's explanation for using his friend's house to entertain Ms. Herman raises suspicions about his integrity. He narrates the progression of their relationship until Ms. Herman's pregnancy discovery, revealing his indifference and subsequent deceit about his marital status. To add insult to injury, he admitted to telling Ms. Herman the house was his, claiming it was technically true in a parallel universe. His attempt at humor did little to win over the audience, who were now convinced his moral compass was spinning like a game show wheel. And here I thought he was just being eco-friendly by recycling his pickup lines, Ms. Herman retorted, earning a wave of laughter from the crowd. Next up, an unexpected voice enters the fray, adding another layer to this tangled web.
When did you two become intimate? That same night?
That same night.
After the club?
He took me home to his house, and I went, and this is how I did.
Wait a minute, he took you home to his house. Where was his wife and his kid?
I'm looking under bed sheets. I want to see if there's some stilettos or some thongs under here. I want to make sure. I want to be sure. And when I went through all that stuff, there was no sign of no women or no children in that home.
And which home is this?
I didn't take it my home.
Oh.
But my buddy, he got married that day.
So it was his home because now he had a new home with his wife.
Exactly.
So this was like his
This
bachelor
is like a
pad.
bachelor pad, you know?
Ms. Houston, the wife, shares her perspective, detailing how she discovered her husband's affair and Ms. Herman's pregnancy through a revealing phone message. This leads to a confrontation between Ms. Houston and Ms. Herman, shedding light on Mr. Houston's duplicity. In the midst of this, Ms. Houston couldn't help but wonder if a simple wrong number excuse would have saved her a lot of drama. She humorously remarks that her detective skills, honed by years of watching crime drama, finally paid off, though she'd have preferred a different case to solve. With emotions running high, the courtroom prepares for the emotional testimony from Ms. Houston herself.
She always got it laid out. She would have candles here, candles there. She would have it smelling good. And she always didn't have no clothes. She always had this one little silk thing that hang tight on her butt.
Mr. Houston, did your wife have any idea you were leaving the house at 2 in the morning and sleeping with another woman?
See, the thing is this, we were already on the verge of going through a divorce. Things wasn't she expected it to be.
Look at his eyebrows.
Maybe you didn't understand my question. Did your wife know you left the house to go sleep with another woman?
No, she did not.
Okay.
You won't believe your ears as Mr. Houston attempts to justify his actions by linking them to the loss of his father and his desire to extend his bloodline. However, this rationale is met with skepticism, and Judge Lake admonishes him for his cavalier attitude towards fatherhood and the emotional consequences of his actions. The judge quips that Mr. Houston's logic was so flimsy it wouldn't hold up in a breeze, let alone a court of law. With a smirk, Judge Lake suggests perhaps Mr. Houston should consider a career in fiction writing, given his creative excuses. But the courtroom is on the edge of its seat, awaiting the bombshell that's about to drop.
You are basically expressing that you experienced an emotional trauma, losing your father.
Exactly.
And you thought by making more children,
I'll be connected with my
you
father.
will be connecting with your father. When you bring children into the world with paternity questions, that's not being a superhero. That's not being the kind of father you say you lost.
I don't like condoms, so I don't use condoms.
Exactly, and I want you to know this.
I'm allergic to latex, so I can use non-latex condoms.
Why do people keep saying they're allergic to latex but not allergic
This
to
woman
sex?
tried to trap me.
I mean, it's like
sex at all. You're right.
Prepare for a game changer as Ms. Herman throws down the gauntlet, suggesting Mr. Houston might want to start practicing his dad jokes because if he's Corey's father, it's game time for daddy duties. The room buzzes with the kind of anticipation usually reserved for the final episode of a beloved TV series, as everyone waits for the DNA test results that will either tie Mr. Houston to Corey with the unbreakable bonds of parenthood or let him off the hook. The tension is palpable, but nothing could prepare the courtroom for the twist that's about to unfold.
I had his first pair of shoes. I got him some booties. I did everything that I was supposed to do as far as making sure he had car seats. I did all those things. Of course, she ain't gonna give me no credit today.
I'm not, because he came to the baby shower and he dropped off 1 pack of diapers.
That's not true. I didn't even go to the baby shower. See?
I can't build a family with somebody that's already got a family. How am I
Woman,
do that?
it's the same
How does
woman
that work?
shows up to my house with hickeys on the neck. Actually, it wasn't my house again. It was one of my
But I'm not his wife.
Is that why you doubt you're Corey's father?
That's what I'm trying to let you know. I never...
In a jaw-dropping moment, straight out of a telenovela, the DNA results waltz into the courtroom.
It has been determined by this court. Mr. Houston, you are not the father.
Yes! Thank you, Jesus.
These are the kind of formal introductions you'd expect at a medieval jousting tournament, except the only thing being jousted over is the paternity of Ms. Gunild and Mr. Harden's 2 daughters. Cue dramatic music and possibly a drum roll because the stage is set for a familial showdown that's more gripping than a season finale cliffhanger. You won't want to miss what comes next.
Hello, Your Honor.
Hello.
This is a case of Gunild versus Harden.
Thank you, Jerome.
You're welcome.
Good day, everyone. Ms. Gunild, you and your sister agree that the man you've known to be your father is denying paternity.
As the clock ticks down, everyone's on pins and needles, waiting for the DNA results like it's the final episode of their favorite binge-worthy series. Will Mr. Harden's doubts dissolve faster than a sugar cube in hot tea, or will the plot thicken like the world's most dramatic gravy? Stay tuned for DNA results that promise to deliver more twists than a yoga class led by a pretzel. Brace yourself, the intensity escalates from here.
Mr. Harden actually came to our house in Minnesota and with his 2 sisters, and which we all just spent the day together. And the last I recall, I was 11 years old, and my sister Kiera was 10.
11, and you're 26 now.
Correct.
15 years ago is the last time you saw him?
Correct.
The narrative shifts to Mr. Harden's defense, his reasons for doubt, and his claim of being prevented from seeing his daughters, which adds complexity to the dispute. It's as if he's trying to navigate a maze blindfolded, with the cheese at the end being quality time with his kids. His side of the story is peppered with plot twists worthy of a daytime soap opera, including dramatic pauses and maybe even an evil twin. Mr. Harden insists that he's not the villain in this story, just a dad who's as confused as a chameleon in a bag of Skittles. The next part is equally jaw-dropping.
Their mother didn't allow me to come around them at all. There's no way I would not want to be around my daughters, Your Honor.
You're lying right there.
I asked for a paternity test from day one. Your Honor, I've always doubted because I used to catch Ms. Gunild with several different men during the course of our relationship. My first daughter was 6 weeks old. I came in from out of town for my aunt's funeral. I came home early to find Ms. Gunild gone. Another lady was in the house. She threw the baby in my arm and ran out the door, Your Honor.
And just when you thought it couldn't get more intriguing, the court starts digging around like a nosy neighbor, pondering if there might be other dads in the picture. Ms. Geinold nods to the idea, kind of like when you agree that yes, there could be other fish in the sea, but you're not sure where you left your fishing rod. And with Mr. Hardin's name missing from the birth certificates, it's like he's being asked to pay for a party he wasn't even invited to, which definitely makes everyone scratch their heads over his need to bring diapers to this baby bash. But wait, there's a twist you won't see coming.
He was their biological father because you had been unfaithful.
I was dealing with somebody prior to us getting together. Like I said, prior to us getting together. He was also in a relation. When I first got pregnant, he also, like I said, had another woman pregnant. She was pregnant a month before me.
But more importantly, were you sleeping with anyone else during the time, your oldest child, were you sleeping with anybody else during that window of conception?
When we got together, no. But prior to that, I was with somebody.
Then, like a plot twist in a soap opera, the spotlight turns to the legal mumbo-jumbo and a series of whoopsies that crown Mr. Hardin the dad by default. It's as if the law played a game of eeny, meeny, miny, moe, and he lost. This segment shines a comedic yet troubling light on the convoluted paths of the legal system and the adventures of chasing child support like a wild goose. Fun to watch, but bewildering to be part of. The saga continues, and you won't believe what's next.
A friend of mine actually brought it to my attention. He actually told me that she had several different men that she had been engaged with over the time.
Is that true?
No.
But you
David
do
and
admit
I-
that there's at least one other possibility as it relates to your first child, Shanice.
Yeah.
There could be one
Yeah.
more person.
Yeah, could be.
So you do know this. Who's on the birth certificate for Shanice?
Just me.
No father listed. How about Kiara?
Nothing.
You say you owe almost $90,000 between the two girls.
A heated exchange about the timing of DNA test requests, financial concerns, and the desire for truth emphasizes the complex motivations and feelings involved in resolving paternity questions. Between jabs about who bought the last round of burgers to whose turn it was to pick the Netflix show, the seriousness of the situation took a backseat, momentarily making everyone forget they were in a legal battle and not a family game night gone wrong. The conclusion is around the corner, and it's more heartwarming than you could imagine.
Why are you letting us call you dad when you doubted this whole time?
No, you don't understand.
No, I don't understand, so explain it. I'd like to
I'm trying to explain it right now. Here we went to court about this. I begged the court to please give me a paternity test.
The money. You never, when you started paying child support payments, that's when you wanted DNA tests. You didn't have none of this before.
Ms. Ganald, or even asked your daughters to take one?
On availability, I didn't have the funds.
I told him I'd pay for it.
I wanted to get.
I told him I'd pay for a
two
DNA test, and he did not want to take it.
It never happened.
Do you remember her asking?
Never happened.
The resolution phase begins with DNA test results revealing Mr. Hardin is.
Mr. Hardin, you are her father.
Told you. I told you. 26 years.
The case of Knowles versus Lindsley is introduced by Judge Lake, highlighting a complex love triangle leading to a paternity dispute over a 3-month-old son, Tyler Jr. Mr. and Mrs. Knowles aim to prove Mr. Lindsley is not the father, alleging his claims of paternity are an attempt to disrupt their family. Just when you think you've seen it all, the next moment takes the drama up a notch. Buckle up, because the roller coaster of drama ain't stopping here.
Mr. and Mrs. Knowles, you previously appeared in court with the defendant for a paternity case involving another child. You're back today because this love triangle has led you to yet another paternity dispute. Mr. and Ms. Knowles, you say you need to prove to Mr. Lindsay that he is not father of your 3-month-old son, Tyler Jr., and believe he's claiming paternity to bust up your happy family.
This part, total circus show. A confrontation over the paternity of Tyler Jr. ensues, with both Mr. Lindsley and Mrs. Knowles providing conflicting accounts of their relationship and the revelation of the pregnancy. The tension escalates as Mr. Lindsley claims he received a text message from Mrs. Knowles suggesting he could be the father, a claim she vehemently denies. And just when you think it couldn't get any more intense, wait until you see what's next. You won't believe the next act in this drama.
Was in the hospital room.
When I said, who did you tell when you found out you were pregnant, I heard 2.
No, I told Mr. Knowles because he was in the room with me.
I was in the hospital.
Okay, did you
And
later
my
tell
cell
Mr.
phone-
Lindsley?
No, what I did, as soon as I found out I was pregnant, Your Honor, I posted a Facebook post. All my friends talked to him, Mr. Lindsley. So he could have heard it from
I
one of the
personally
3
remember a
people
text
that
message
commented.
saying that she was pregnant with another child that was more than likely mine.
Next up, we've got a real doozy. The debate over Mrs. Knowles' living arrangements and the timeline of her relationships with Mr. Knowles and Mr. Lindsley continues. Both parties present conflicting testimonies regarding when Mrs. Knowles moved out of Mr. Lindsley's house and resumed her relationship with Mr. Knowles, emphasizing the disputed nature of the paternity claim. Stay tuned, because the revelations just keep coming. Seriously, it's like the plot twists have plot twists.
I took a picture of me and my oldest on our couch on March 22nd.
But the issue is that doesn't mean
But
she wasn't still intimate with Mr. Lindsley in April.
We were already living together,
we
Your
were-
Honor.
we were-
Me and Mr. Lindsley had no contact after I moved out of his house in the middle of March.
That's not true at all.
And
because-
Your Honor.
And you never, after that point, after March 22nd, it's your testimony that you never had sex with Mr. Lindsley again.
No, Your Honor.
Oh boy, it gets even juicier. Mr. Knowles expresses his conviction that Tyler Jr. is his biological child, citing physical resemblances and emotional bonds. The discussion reflects the deep personal stakes involved, as well as the impact of the dispute on the family's dynamics and Mr. Knowles' determination to resolve the paternity question. But hold on, the drama is far from over. Get ready, because this emotional roller coaster has more loops.
Are still struggling with this issue with Mr. Lindsley insisting that he fathered your wife's child.
Yes.
What is it doing to the family?
Tearing us apart because that little boy right there, I know he's mine. Anybody can tell you he's my child. He's got my eyes, he's got my hair, he's even got my...
Your hairline?
Yeah, my hairline.
Same hairline? That's what you were showing me?
Just when you thought you'd seen everything, the naming of the baby as Tyler Jr. becomes a point of contention, with Mr. Lindsley claiming he was told a different name, suggesting manipulation, and further complicating the narrative around the child's paternity and identity. But just when you think you figured it out, the story takes another surprising turn. Brace yourself, because what comes next is the cherry on this drama sundae.
About him for the whole year we was together.
I took a lie and a half because the friend that hooked me and you up started dating even knew about my husband.
But that ain't
She
what we're
sent me
here
a
for.
text.
We're here for the kid.
She sent me a text one day. I didn't know who it was because it was a weird number. After me and her separated, I thought she wanted to leave me, so I deleted her number out of my phone. She sent me a text saying, Dustin wants me to get a divorce so we can get married.
This is exactly what this is. If you look up love triangle in the dictionary right now, it's your three heads next to it.
And for the grand finale, the DNA test drama unwraps like the finale of a soap opera, with the envelope in Judge Lake's hand trembling with the weight of destiny. Can't make this stuff up, folks. Get your popcorn ready, because the reveal is going to be epic.
It has been determined by this court. The biological father is Noel.
Ms. Adams is in full-on panic mode explaining her son's hot mess of a situation. He's piping in via satellite thanks to some sticky legal red tape, and he's teetering on the brink of getting slapped with cuffs for dodging child support payments. The goal? Prove he's not the baby daddy of Ms. Williams' kiddo to dodge jail time. Talk about drama.
Now, your son, Mr. Adams, is joining us via satellite from Flint, Michigan, because he's been prohibited by law enforcement from leaving your home state. And you claim he's on the verge of being arrested for back child support, and you're both with us today to prove he's not the father of the defendant's 3-year-old son in an effort to keep him out of jail.
Mr. Adams spills the tea about his fling with Ms. Williams. Picture it, a wild house party, nothing serious, just some casual fun. You know, he pretty much says he figured she was trouble from the get-go. This is not your average bedtime story, folks.
Enlighten me on this situation. You were in a relationship with Ms. Williams.
No, I really wouldn't call it no relationship. You know, I met her at a house party. She tried to have sex with me on the first date, so that was a judge of character right there.
But you weren't in a committed relationship.
No, Your Honor.
Plot twist incoming. Ms. Williams throws a curveball, admitting she was playing the field when she got pregnant. Yup, no protection either, which really throws a wrench into the who's the daddy mystery. Mr. Adams and his mom must be breathing a small sigh of relief somewhere.
It was just an on and off thing.
Yeah, it was just an on and off
thing. So if it wasn't committed during that time, were you also sleeping with other men as well?
Yes, ma'am, I was.
Without using protection?
Yeah, it's a possibility. I never, said, oh, you are the father or you gonna take care of this baby or that.
And yet he's sitting now in Flint, Michigan.
Just when you think it can't get crazier, it does. Mr. Adams misses a court date because, get this, he's already behind bars for something else. Talk about bad timing. So the court just goes ahead and pins the father title on him by default. It's like missing a party and finding out you were elected president of the party while you were out.
Only due to the fact that I was incarcerated, so I didn't receive any court subpoenas, anything, Your Honor. I was incarcerated.
So you didn't show up that day. You were deemed the father by default. Ms. Adams?
Yes.
Tell me how you heard about all of this.
My daughter was kind of close to her. They worked together.
Things are heating up. Both parties go head to head, dishing out their struggles. Ms. Williams isn't just sitting pretty. She's hustling hard to turn her life and her child's future around. Hats off to her. But man, the tension is thicker than a bowl of oatmeal.
So you said it's not his.
Yes.
But you understand why this could then make her doubtful.
Yes, I do. And she letting everybody babysit while she go to the strip club ain't doing her no good.
Again, first off,
she didn't come get me for 2 days.
Listen, really?
Mr. Adams is putting up a fight, really really doubting he's the dad. He's got some secondhand advice from his mama about Ms. Williams' chatter on potential other daddies. This family drama could give primetime soaps a run for their money.
She said it was a strong possibility.
You didn't believe that?
No.
Why?
She had already told me that the baby wasn't mine. Then she named the baby after her ex-boyfriend.
She says she told you it wasn't yours because he and her boyfriend had decided they were going to work it out between the two of them, but the baby wasn't his.
Oops, he did it again. Mr. Adams originally dodged a DNA test because he was nursing a killer hangover. Bad move, buddy. This little hiccup spirals into him being slapped with the dad label and a hefty bill for child support. It's like skipping a dentist appointment and ending up with a mouthful of cavities.
Asked you to take a DNA test.
Yes, that's correct, Your Honor. She did.
Why didn't you take it?
His excuse was he had a hangover. He couldn't get up. He was just basically being late.
My son was in jail.
No, this was before he had got locked up. I asked him twice.
He was in jail. I had
Adams.
the papers sent to jail to have the DNA test.
Grab your popcorn. It's climax time. Mr. Adams recounts the tale of his arrest over the unpaid child support, a direct sequel to missing that all-important DNA test. If his life were a movie, this would be the part where you can't look away, but you also want to yell at the screen.
Basically, I was walking to the store to get some cigarettes. Police just ran our name. I didn't even know I had a warrant, so I gave them my name proud, like, you know, I'm Lassiter Adams. Come to find out, he come back to me like, oh, Mr. Adams, you got a warrant for child support. I'm like, what?
And how much time did you serve for this?
Like 10 days.
Here comes the big reveal. DNA results are in, and guess what?
It has been determined that Mr. Adams is not the father.
Take me off child support, baby.
Mr. Adams, you done come to the wrong courtroom clowning. It's nothing to dance about. It's nothing to laugh about. Your future was on the line because of your bad decisions. Now, you should be ashamed of yourself, not sitting around dancing.
Mrs. Smith steps up to the plate in Judge Lake's courtroom, throwing a curveball about the paternity of her 4-month-old Lemon Tray, thanks to a little pregnancy math error. Hoping to finally pin down whether her ex or her current fiancé, Mr. Brooker, might be the daddy, she lays out her case. Just when you think you've seen it all, the plot thickens. Brace yourself for what's coming.
Miss Smith, you are here in court today because you claim a miscalculation during your pregnancy has left you unsure about the paternity of your 4-month-old son, Lamontre. Now, today you hope to determine whether your ex-boyfriend or the defendant, Mr. Brooker, fathered your child.
This revelation is absolutely bonkers. Mrs. Smith dives into the soap opera of her life, mapping out her rocky romance timeline with her ex-boyfriend and the entrance of Mr. Brooker. From birthday party invites to a whirlwind fling that might have started the whole baby drama, she spills all the tea. Trust me, you'll want to stick around because the juicy details just keep coming.
A couple of weeks later, next month in September, I felt like sick, so I decided to take a pregnancy test.
Okay.
And so it came back positive. So the next day, I actually went to the doctor and I confirmed it, and that's when they gave me my due date of April 9th.
Okay, so now, Mr. Brooker, is that an accurate account?
Well, yes, ma'am.
What an emotional roller coaster. Here comes Mr. Brooker, dealing his own hand with some paternity doubts after a pregnancy timeline mix-up revealed the baby might not be his after all. His recount of their tear-jerking chats about who the potential papas could be adds another layer to this tangled tale. Hang on to your hats because there are more twists ahead.
She was in her car at that time, and I was home. She sent me a text saying it was important and she needed to talk to me. And I was like, okay. I'm laying down, and she said, I just went to the doctor and I found out I was 6 weeks instead of 8. And I'm like, my heart dropped. I was like, oh my God. I was like, okay, cool. All right. So we got him in person. We talked about it. She said it may be a possibility.
The tension builds further as Ms. Smith lays out her medical mystery tour of doctor visits and due date mix-ups that have everyone scratching their heads. Armed with a calendar, she tries to piece together the puzzling timeline of her baby-making saga. Don't go anywhere. The next part of this plot is even more of a brain teaser.
Well, the thing is, I went to 3 different doctors. The first one I went to, and they told me, well, yeah, you're about 8 or 9 weeks pregnant, and they did it by heart. So that led back to my ex. That next week, I went and I got a blood test done, and they said that just about the same thing, 8 or 9 weeks, and my due date was April 9th.
And that's the reason we're here.
Here comes Dr. Jamila Gator, dropping knowledge bombs like it's hot. This family medicine guru steps into the courtroom spotlight to school everyone on how those initial pregnancy estimates can take a left turn when the ultrasound tech gets a peek. Seems like Mr. Brooker might be in the running for daddy after all. The next reveal is just around the corner, and it's a doozy.
Have you reviewed the paperwork we submitted to you and her evidence?
Yes, I've reviewed the medical records.
Can you hold up the calendar so we can understand this? Thank you. So, Dr. Gator, as you can see, on July 17th is the last time Ms. Smith was intimate with her ex. Now, August 14th was when she was intimate with Mr. Brooker.
Correct.
First due date she got was April 9th.
Yes, correct.
Grab the tissues, folks. Mr. Brooker gets real about his roller coaster of emotions for Mrs. Smith and little Lamontre. He talks about his bond with the tot and his pledge to stick around no matter what the DNA says. It's getting emotional in here, and just when you think you've caught your breath, there's more heartfelt drama on the way.
That was a lot. And so because of this, Mr. Brooker, you had doubt.
I had doubts, I did, but at the same time, like I told her, through the time we were together, I actually ended up falling in love with her.
Oh,
regardless,
you did?
Yes, ma'am. Regardless whether the result came out if the baby was to be mine or not, I was gonna be there. I even gave him my name.
Oh, that's wonderful.
Hold on to your seats. This is a nail-biter. In a heart-stopping moment, Ms. Smith and Mr. Brooker confront the harsh reality of a DNA test done in the hospital hallway, showing Mr. Brooker has zero chance of being the father. But like a champ, he vows to keep playing the dad role. Keep watching, because the climax is just up next, and it's going to be a shocker.
Yes, I was there when he did it.
Oh.
He wanted to do it, so I'm like, okay, because I was sure. I'm like, okay, he's the father, I want to let him do it. But the nurses was like, oh, we wouldn't advise you to do that. Wait till he's a little bit older.
I
So
got
the
evidence
nurses told.
for the
Let me
test
see that
also.
evidence, Jerome. So these are the results of your at-home test.
Yes, ma'am.
It says probability of paternity 0%. What did you think then?
That's still my baby.
You did?
Yes, ma'am.
You won't see this coming, promise. The courtroom holds its breath as Judge Lake delivers the bombshell DNA results.
Mr. Brooker, you are not his father. I'm sorry to have to deliver that news.
So, the curtains rise and boom, there's drama on stage. Mrs. Moon Merrifield strides into the court scene, dragging her somewhat bewildered husband, Mr. Merrifield, to prove once and for all that he's the daddy of their bouncing 20-month-old Cain. She's throwing accusations left and right, claiming Mr. Merrifield has been dodging daddy duties since day one due to a sneaky suspicion of infidelity. Strap in, folks. This ride's just starting.
Merrifield, you say your family is in jeopardy of being torn apart.
Yes, Your Honor.
You've dragged your husband, Mr. Merrifield, to paternity court to prove that he fathered your 20-month-old son, Cain.
Yes, Your
You
Honor.
claim he's been denying your son since birth.
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Merrifield, you believe your wife cheated on you and has been lying about Cain's paternity, and now you say a divorce is next.
Yes, Your Honor.
Hold on to your hats because Mr. Merrifield's got a mic drop of his own. He's not just doubting he's the father, he's practically packing his bags, hinting at a divorce parade thanks to Mrs. Merrifield's supposed secret rendezvous and digital flirtations with other men. Oh, and he's not whispering about it either. The plot thickens, my friends.
You have the divorce papers already
Yes, ma'am.
filled out. They're just, what, awaiting execution?
I need to find out the answer if this is my child or not.
He always
Get
results
some
to
help.
that. Anytime we have a fight or an argument or whatever, it's always divorce. It's never work it out, let's talk, whatever. He always throws up divorce in my face like I'm supposed to just melt to my feet. And he always, just at the littlest thing, brings up divorce.
It's not a threat. It's, that's how I feel.
And just when you thought it couldn't get juicier, it does. Mr. Merrifield rolls up his sleeves and dives deep into the social media rabbit hole, pulling out receipts of Mrs. Merrifield's online escapades. Yes, he has evidence of her chatting up other gents, lighting up his fuse, and turning their marital boat into the Titanic. Grab your popcorn. This is getting good.
You text this man.
Yes.
And you say, are you messing with my wife?
Yeah.
And he says, hey, bro, don't nobody want your wife. I'm far from it. And I'm not about to be arguing with you. You need to be with your wife instead of acting like a clown. And so what you have...
And look at the number that's on there, call log, and how much they're talking. That's why I'm acting crazy.
I can talk anybody I want to talk
all
to.
day
You
long,
talk
every
to
day when I'm
somebody.
doing
several calls to the same number.
Back to back every minute.
Let's rewind and see how this mess started, shall we? We're taking a stroll down memory lane, back to the high school sweetheart saga that's had more offs than ons. Post 18, Mrs. Merrifield wanted to explore, which apparently didn't sit well with Mr. Merrifield, who's been nursing his insecurities ever since. Ah, young love, so complicated.
He was in junior high. I was in
13.
high school.
I was 13, she was 14. I used to walk to school, pick up those little things that you blow and you close your eyes and make a wish.
Yes.
I used to walk to school in 7th grade and I used to see those and pick them up and wish like, oh, I love this girl. I wish I have a family and kids by this girl. And I used to wish for that all the time.
Really, Mr. Merrifield?
So we was together, the first 3 years was good, all the way up until 18. Once we turned 18, she started saying, I was her first boyfriend, first everything.
Now, Mr. Merrifield isn't just throwing shade, he's throwing the whole tree. He's dug up texts between his wife and a lineup of old flames, which has him questioning whether he's really the father or just a placeholder. The drama dial is cranked up to 11, folks.
Okay, the doubt that I have, the reason why I have doubt is I found her texting 3 different dudes. 3 of them she already slept with and she loves. There's her love. One of them is the love of her life. If she's texting these guys that they love each other, if she's texting texting these
People
guys
I
that they
talk
love
to.
each other. She's supposed to change her number. She changed her number, and she starts emailing, I love you to him. I catch the email.
You're exaggerating.
I find the email.
Can you feel the heartbreak? Mr. Merrifield spills his guts, talking about how this whole saga is shredding his heart and twisting his melon. It's not just about the infidelities he perceives. It's about feeling like he's the last to know his own life's script. Cue the violins, because this is getting tear-jerky.
He didn't even pay for the dinner for one. I had to tell them on my own that it was my birthday. I didn't get a Mother's Day gift. He don't take no time. He don't put no thought into it. Well, I didn't know what to do, so whatever.
Is that why you do enjoy texting
Yes,
or talking
I do.
to other
Yes.
men?
He criticizes everything I do.
Enter Nicole Andrew, the family referee, trying to make a touchdown in Team Merrifield's civil war. She's all in for Mrs. Merrifield, throwing shade back at Mr. Merrifield for his accusations and stirring up more trouble than a reality TV show. Oh, the humanity.
Since he was 14 years old, he still doesn't know how much I love him. He still thinks I try to come between them. I want my daughter to have her husband and her whole family together because she wasn't raised with her father. He thinks I'm against him. I'm for him. Always for him. I can't always be on his side because he's not always right. She's right sometimes and sometimes he's right.
Just when you think they might take a breath and chill, nope, they're back at it, dissecting each other's words like they're on an episode of CSI Marriage. They're bickering over how everyone's poking their noses into their business, unraveling their threads of trust. Spoiler alert, it's not pretty.
My doubts has to do with the situation.
He didn't start the denial until the text message.
Do you all realize that you're talking exactly the same? Just let her finish. Go ahead, ma'am.
He was there through the whole thing. I had a 6-month-old son. I was at home 24/7, breastfeeding, being with my son. I had no time to go nowhere else. I'm not that type of woman.
Hold the phone. Here comes the big reveal. DNA test results are in.
It has been determined by this court. Mr. Merrifield, you are Kane's father.
An apology, Devontae.
So here's a juicy bit. Miss Marsh and her mom are laying into Mr. Reed big time, accusing him of ditching his dad duties for their 1-year-old Tamari. The plot twist? He only bails when Miss Marsh turns down his rom-com style love advances. Mr. Reed fires back with a soap opera-worthy claim that Miss Marsh spilled the beans about him. Maybe not being Tamari's real dad, because apparently she's trying to snag him in a love net. Miss Marsh is having none of it though. She's all like, moved on, buddy, just pony up the cash for your kid. And that's just the appetizer, folks.
Ms. Marsh, you and your mom have demanded the defendant, Mr. Reed, appear in court today because you say he denies your 1-year-old daughter, Tamari, only when you deny his desire to have a relationship with you. Mr. Reed, you claim that Miss Marsh has confessed to you that you may not be Tamari's biological father, and you believe she's trying to trap you into a relationship with her.
Oh, and get this. Mr. Reed takes us back to the good old days when their love story was nothing but text messages and late-night chats because he was chilling in California while she was in Columbus, Ohio. He packed up his life and moved to Columbus for a gig, turning their virtual fling into an IRL thing. But wait, there's a catch. He's not too thrilled about her X-Files and the kiddos with other dudes. Hang on to your hats, this roller coaster's just getting started.
Where'd you meet?
We met in Columbus, Ohio, but I lived in California.
Okay.
I had just turned 18.
Okay, so you met in Columbus, Ohio.
Yeah.
So you all started dating.
No.
I
flew back to California.
It was a long distance relationship, Your Honor.
So you were in a long distance relationship online.
Yes, Your Honor.
Hold on to your popcorn because Mr. Reed drops a bombshell in Missouri. He's married, and no, he wasn't kidding when he said he wanted 4 wives. Miss Marsh is stunned, feeling the ultimate betrayal when 2 women, including his actual wife, crash their cozy hotel meetup. Cue the dramatic music and slow-mo as Miss Marsh decides she's out. But folks, the drama doesn't end there. Stick around for the next scene.
2 women pop up at the hotel room, and he said, "This is my wife."
Your Honor,
and I said, "It's over."
What?
Your Honor, on the way.
Hold on.
I was planning on, I'm a Muslim, so I was planning on having 4 wives, and she
He's a fake Muslim. He's a wannabe Muslim.
Ms. Marsh, man you've been dating and seeing,
Is a
relocated to your town, says, we're dating, I want to take you on a vacation.
Yeah.
Grab your tissues. It's about to get real emotional. Miss Marsh is in court, tears streaming, giving us the full backstory of her roller coaster relationship with Mr. Reed since she was 18. It's like every season of every drama series rolled into one. He's crisscrossing states, promising her the moon while romancing others on the side. The big reveal? She's pregnant, and Mr. Reed's been playing the field. You'll need to see what's up next. It's a doozy.
And his mom was like, "I thought he told you that he wanted 4 wives." I said, "No, your son didn't tell me. He tricked me." So it's a different.
Your
I didn't
Honor,
know about no
Your
other
Honor,
wives until I got to St.
Your Honor,
Louis.
how could I not trick a grown woman.
Ms. Walker, was it your understanding Mr. Reed was your daughter's boyfriend at that time?
Yes. I didn't see the other side of him until she announced that she was pregnant. He came out to be a very nice, strong person.
Strap in for more courtroom chaos. The big question on everyone's minds, who's the daddy? Mr. Reed is skeptical thanks to some heated throwdowns where Miss Marsh hinted he might not be the father. But hold up, she says that was just her angry voice talking. The court's got this fancy conception date calculator that points right at Mr. Reed. As they untangle this baby daddy drama mixed with a side of deceit, the tension is thick. Don't go anywhere. The verdict is about to drop.
But this child, you say you have doubts.
Yes.
All right, Miss Marsh, what would you like to add?
Your Honor, when we were together, he didn't even take care of her.
Who pay your bills?
Every time a bill due, he would leave and go to Chicago.
No, and I'm a witness to
Like,
this.
I'll be like, oh my gosh, what am I going to do?
Your Honor, but they just said I threw the baby a party, so I threw him $2 grand.
But that was a whole year.
All right.
And here's the moment of truth, folks. Drum roll, please.
It's been determined by this court. Mr. Reed, you are not the father.
Now I feel like the goofy.